In this session at Medical Sciences, we are going to look at the membrane lipids and then cholesterol, looking at their structure and function plus classification. And as you begin, if you are new here, you're reminded to subscribe so that you are always notified whenever we release other videos. So we are going to begin with the membrane lipids. These membrane lipids, they are the ones that are part of the cell membrane, which brings the communication of the cell with the surrounding. And one of the membrane lipids which we are talking about in this session is phospholipids, which are categorized into two, whereby we have glycerophospholipids, glycerophospholipid, and the sphingophospholipid. So lysophospholipid and sphingophospholipid, these are the two examples of membrane phospholipids. And these phospholipids, we're going to tell you that they are amphipathic in nature. They are amphipathic because they have the polar head and the non-polar tail. The tail is non-polar, then the head, it is polar. That's why we call them amphipathic. And these ones, they are called glycerophospholipids because the alcohol backbone is glycol. Whereas these are sphingospholipids because the alcohol is sphingosine. Sphingosine is the alcohol found in sphingospholipids. And on the brief structure of glycerophospholipids, we are saying that the alcohol is glycerol, and the glycerol has 3 carbon. It's carbon number 1, carbon number 2, and number 3. And the first 2 are attached to the fatty acid, and the second one is also attached to the fatty acid via ester bond. And this one forms the tail. And this tail, we are saying it is non-polar, or it is hydrophobic. Then the third carbon is attached to the phosphate, is the one that is attached to the phosphate group. And this phosphate group has a variable region which we denote with X, which brings the difference in different glycerophospholipid. So we're going to see that the glycerol portion is this one. This is the glycerol. That's why we call it glycerophospholipid. Then this one from here becomes the tail, which is non-polar, and this one becomes the head with the phosphate group and the variable region named X, and this one is the head. And this head is polar. It is polar. So that's why we call it amphipathic. So this is the structure of a glycerophospholipid. And there are different examples of glycerophospholipids. For example, we shall have phosphatidic acid as the smallest example of glycerophospholipid. Another example, we have phosphatidylcholine. Another example is phosphatidylinositol. We also have phosphatidylethanolamine. This one you can call it Kefari. And this one, another name is known as lecithin. Then we have also another example of this as phosphatidylserine. Then the last one is cardiolipin. So these are all examples of glycerophospholipids, whereby the alcohol in them is glycerol. These are the different examples, whereby we have 4, 5, and 6. And all of these ones form part of the cell membrane. And we're going to tell you that phosphatidic acid is the smallest phosphoglycerol found in the cell membrane, whereas phosphatidylcholine, which you are calling lecithin, is produced, it is found in lungs, whereby lungs have type 2 epithelial cells. Type 2 epithelium, which we call pneumocyte type 2, which produce this phosphatidylcholine, which acts as a surfactant. This one acts as a surfactant by reducing surface tension during expiration and inspiration. So the functions of phosphatidylcholine in the lungs is to reduce surface tension by acting as surfactant, and we are seeing they are produced by type 2 epithelial cells in the lungs. Then this phosphatidylinositol acts as a second messenger. It acts as a second messenger in hormones. Hormones like ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, and hormones like oxytocin, whereby it is acting as a second messenger. Then ethanolamine and serine, these are found in many body tissues, surrounding many body tissues. Then cardiolipin is majorly found in the inner, surrounding the inner mitochondrial membrane. And we know that the inner mitochondrial membrane, its major function is to carry out electron transport chain, which is responsible for oxidative phosphorylation to produce ATP. So cardiolipin is very important in the production of ATP, and it is also found in the heart muscles, that is cardiac, and its low levels can lead to heart failure, and muscle dystrophy due to lack of ATP. Because for electron transport chain, that is oxidative phosphorylation, to produce ATP to occur very well, we need the cardiolipin, which is the part of this inner mitochondrial membrane. So these are the examples of glycerophospholipids. Then these ones with alcohol, which is a sphingosine, the examples we have is sphingomyelin. We have examples like sphingomyelin. Then we can have also glycolipids. These glycolipids, their major function, the sphingolipids, their major function is acting as cell receptors. For example, glycolipids, we have like ceramides, then cerebrosides, because they are majorly found in the CNS, that is the brain, and the ganglioside. So these ones are found majorly in the CNS. This one is found majorly in the central nervous system, and we are saying their major function is acting as cell receptors. So they bring communication between cells and cell identity, and they are the one responsible also for maturation of the CNS. So this is what we can discuss about membrane phospholipids. Don't forget that they are amphipathic because they have the tail, which is nonpolar, and the head, which is polar, and this is the variable region. So when we are talking about choline, we come and add on the X. That's where we put the choline. On the phosphatidic acid, it is the one which has only hydrogen. So hydrogen comes here. So the variation in naming depends on this polar portion of the head. If it is inositol, we come and put inositol. If it is ethanolamine, we put ethanolamine. If it is saline, you come and put, but this one remains the same. So lastly, in this session, we are going to look at cholesterol. Cholesterol, its backbone is known as a sterol ring. It has a sterol ring, and this sterol ring is this one which is polar with hydroxyl group at carbon number 3. And this sterol ring is named, this is carbon number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then this one becomes 11, 12. This one becomes 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have skipped one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then this one, 12, 13. This is 12, 13, 14, 16. I have 15. This one has to be 17. Then this is 18, 19. Then this part, which is the non-polar portion, is going to give 20. Then 20, this is 20, 21, 21. This is 20. This is 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. This is 22, this is 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. So this is the structure of cholesterol with the hydrocarbon chain, and this hydrocarbon chain, which is attached on carbon number 17, this is non-polar. This hydrocarbon chain, which is non-polar, then with the sterol ring, and this sterol ring is polar. It is polar due to presence of the hydroxyl group at carbon number 3. And this sterol ring we are seeing of cholesterol, it is made up of 3 hexagonal polygons. That is A, B, C. Then D is a pentagon. This is the pentagon, then A, B, C are hexagonal in shape. So in counting, this was 13, this was 15, 16, and 17. So this is the structure of cholesterol. So meaning cholesterol is also amphipathic. It is amphipathic. Why? Because it has the tail, which is a hydrocarbon, which is non-polar, and the head, which is polar. So this is hydrophilic. Then this is hydrophobic. That's why we are calling it amphipathic. And we are seeing that cholesterol is having carbon number, or has the number of carbon is 27. And it is the one that acts as precursor for formation of many steroidal compounds in the body, whereby among the functions of cholesterol, we are going to see it is responsible for synthesis of steroid hormones, then synthesis of fat-soluble vitamins, that is the vitamin A, then lastly is also responsible for the synthesis of bile salts. Whereby under steroid hormones we have different examples like testosterone, estrogen, these are sex hormones, progesterone. Then we can also see hormones like cortisol and aldol. All these are steroid hormones. So, and they are derived from this cholesterol being the precursor. Then also synthesis of vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and K, which are also derived from cholesterol. Then also bile salts like sodium taurocholate. All these are derived from cholesterol. So the major three functions of cholesterol is for biosynthesis of steroid hormones, fat-soluble vitamins, and bile salts, which help us in the digestion of fats in the small intestines, together with vitamin A, D, E, and K, which is also responsible. Then these ones are responsible for reproduction and other things. So this is what we can discuss about cholesterol. So as a student, you should be able to draw at least the structure of a glycerophospholipid and different examples. And please don't forget the smallest, which is phosphatidic. Don't forget that phosphatidylcholine, which we call lecithin, is responsible for is acting as a surfactant by reducing surface tension in the lungs, and inositol, very important, acting as a second messenger in hormones like ADH and oxytocin, and also cardiolipin being a major member of inner mitochondrial membrane responsible for electron transport chain. And don't forget how to draw cholesterol with a stellar ring made up of 3 hexagon and 1 pentagon, with the total number of carbon atoms being 27, and it is amphipathic because the tail is non-polar and the head is polar. Then we have seen the major three functions for synthesis of steroid hormones, the fat-soluble vitamins, and bile salts, which are responsible for digestion of bigger lipid droplets into the cells. Thank you so much. Hope you have learned a lot from us, and we're always privileged to serve you. May God bless you and continue to succeed in your endeavors.